Hello and welcome back to XCOM. Last time well, I don't really remember. Blame this. Let's go. One thing that we'll be starting with is upgrades on a few of our soldiers. First of all, we can upgrade our one and only mech. Our choices at this juncture is either the Restorative Mist or a grenade launcher. I tend to go with grenade launcher with this because, as I said before, if you're in need of a lot of healing, you're probably doing something wrong to begin with. Now, moving over to our genetically engineered soldiers, I will be giving Skyder the muscle fiber density for his legs.
I'll have the selected volunteer sent to surgical prep immediately. Once the genetic modification is complete, I will notify you directly.
Yes, as Skyder is a sniper, the ability to basically jump up and down from various Overwatch spots it will be very useful for him, and it's typically something I give on all my snipers in Enemy Within. And moving on just to some building, we'll be excavating out a little bit and putting in a new satellite uplink, as in the last video we just finished up the month, so we have plenty of money to throw around. Unfortunately, we're still waiting for the extra alien alloys in order to complete the alien base, so with luck we'll be able to get those before the month is out, because I'm pretty sure that the luck that I had last time with the US not leaving the council is not going to be repeated at the end of this month. And here I'm just grabbing the second to last upgrade from the OTS. Generally the ones besides the squad size, the rapid recovery, and the increased experience really aren't all that good, but it's half price, so it's not really that big of a deal. And the sectoid autopsy is completed. Not really the best item for it, I'll speak to that in a second. Really the reason I did this was to get the increased critical chance on those guys. The uplink targeting basically is one of those consumables for our interceptors, which when you activate it will ensure the next, I think, 2 hits are guaranteed to strike the UFO. So now it's just a matter of carving up a chrysalid and seeing what kind of candy it's got inside of it.
Based on what we've seen in the field so far, including several grotesque examples of trauma resulting from the emergence of its young, we've taken to calling this specimen a chrysalid.
With any luck, you won't actually get to see what happens when they properly infect somebody, but yeah, basically, if you don't kill a zombie, it will spawn a new chrysalid. And quite a few items we get out of this thing, and a heck of a lot of text. I'll leave it up there for a little bit for you guys to see. But yeah, as you can guess, chrysalids generally remain very scary enemies, even into the late game, as their numbers only increase, especially in the terror missions, and if you let them run rampant throughout the civilians, you can end up with quite a number of zombies or even new chrysalids on the map. Chitin plating is basically a nanofiber vest mixed with the respiratory implant, plus a little bonus defense against melee. The needle grenade, I've actually never used it, but the general idea is you lob it behind cover, and it'll basically frag the enemies without destroying any of the cover. And that's a very useful genetic upgrade there, the bioelectric skin. So I decide to put the bioelectric skin on one of my chief assaults here, because typically the assaults tend to be at the front of the line, so by throwing them first off, and you can almost use them as a scout because they will be able to sense the enemies through walls. That way you can position your other soldiers a little bit better as you're moving forward.
Reinforcement to the muscle and bone structures in the lower body will allow our soldiers to jump well beyond natural human capabilities.
And that's why you don't skip leg day.
Amplifying the body's natural electromagnetic field will allow soldiers to detect nearby enemies without visual input.
And I noticed that we have a couple of extra medals, so I decided to throw one at a couple of our soldiers, basically just to use them up at this point. I honestly forget why I gave it to these 2 soldiers. I do apologize, I should have written it down. And that's Illyrium completed. And as it says there, we won't be able to make any of it. It is one of the resources that you have to recover from the aliens, similar to the alien alloys or the weapon fragments. Fortunately, I don't find that it's so rare that you won't have more than enough, but of course at the start of when you use it right now, it will be in short supply, so we'll have to bear that in mind. The Jelly Delirium is for the flamethrower, so obviously I won't be needing that, and the improved arc thrower is extremely useful. Now it's just a matter of looking into what the heck the plasma rifle can do. And this is just completing our little building project. Because honestly, believe it or not, I have more money than I know what to do with right now. Considering getting rid of the alien containment for a second to put it in the satellite uplink there for the adjacency, but I'll be leaving it there at least for now. I might just stick it into like the bottom corner somewhere. And Canada's freaking out for some reason, because Exalt decided to go kick over a few garbage cans up in my home and native land, so we're definitely going to be doing something about that in part 2 of this video. And for some reason, I completely fail in finding poor Skyder. Just give me a second. There he is. Well, typically Canada gets a raw deal in video games, but at least somebody noticed us. And that's the light plasma rifle completed. It is the precursor to all the other plasma weapons, and it is extremely useful in its own right. It does basically the same damage as the laser rifles, but it has plus 10 aim because it's so lightweight. Unfortunately, it is overshadowed, excuse me, by the regular plasma rifle, so we'll definitely be upgrading to those as soon as I can get them. But as you saw, I can't even research anything right now. I'm just so low on weapon fragments and everything else. Although this might change all that.
Commander, we're tracking several reported abductions via the hologlobe. I've got the coordinates.
So India, Brazil, or South Africa? We're going to South Africa. Basically off camera, I just kind of looked around at all the panic and I decided that South Africa is probably the one that I want to hit. Not too impressed with the reward, but what can you do? And this is just showing what the light plasma rifle looks like in the hands of a soldier. And a quick jump and we can see our final team before we head over into South Africa. Yeah, actually you can give the rifle type weapons to the assaults, and I typically find that the light plasma rifle actually does work a little bit better than the scatter laser. It does sacrifice a little bit of damage, but the additional aim I find is a lot better, especially because assaults are terrible over longer distances.
We'll have to move quickly if we want to slow the spread of panic.
Central, Big Sky in position on approach of the abduction site. Strike 1 is awaiting drop clearance.
Copy that, Big Sky. Strike 1 is cleared to engage hostile targets. Watch your backs out there, people.
It looks like we find ourselves at a car dealership or mechanics of some sort. The only things on the planet less trustworthy than the aliens right now. Doesn't look like a very big map, so obviously we'll be running into the pods pretty quickly. So first things first, as per the usual, spread out, get into cover, and hopefully get a pod triggered right now, because I'd like to take it out before I run into more than one, because, as I said, small map and multiple pods would probably lead to at least a few people in the hospital. And by a few, I mean all of them. And by hospital, I mean dead. So Cyanox will be taking the lead up the right-hand side there. I do have eyes into the garage, so I'm pretty sure that it's empty right now, so I'm not too worried about anything sneaking out of there right now, so I'm more worried about that right-hand side up the parking lot. So I'm mostly focusing on getting my soldiers into cover that way. And I'm also setting Drat up there. Hopefully he'll trigger something. Doesn't look like he does. I'm pretty sure that this game positions the pod so that generally they're at least 1 or 2 movements away from all your soldiers once they drop off the Sky Ranger, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And this just further confirms that the garage is most likely clear, and it also gives Cecilin a pretty good line of fire up the right-hand side there. So with it clear so far, I'm feeling pretty good that I don't have to really put anybody in Overwatch. I can just keep moving them forward, getting them into the best possible cover, and just going from there.
On the move.
I don't really want to move Synox up all the way because I'm afraid there might be something just outside of his reach. And a couple more Seekers, but even though I continue to forget to build any respiratory implants, I don't really need them anymore. And thought I might have heard something over here, but I don't think I did actually, so never mind that. So, if you recall, Hall here is the one who has the bioelectric skin, and in addition to being able to see enemies through walls and stuff, it actually allows her to sense the invisible enemies, including the Seekers. And I'll demonstrate that right now. Not only does it allow her to sense them, but it actually automatically decloaks them. So now I can open fire with everybody else because nobody else has even spent any action points. So, so long as I can keep Hall in my squad going forward where there might be any Seekers, they're pretty much neutered for the rest of the game, and they don't tend to move into the mid to late game, so this might actually be the last time that we see them. Sucks for them to go out on a whimper rather than a bang, but, well, we'll see what Synox can do about that.
Approaching hostile target.
Yeah, that was a pretty good bang. So Dradlin should be easily able to clear that last one up, and we can start moving further into the garage. Yeah, 98% chance to hit. That's pretty good. Yep. And a promotion. Awesome.
No longer a threat.
So that's one pod taken care of. There's probably only 2 more left on this map, so feeling pretty good. I can just start moving my troops in a bit more. I'm thinking, let's move them through the garage as I move them up the right-hand side, or even send them out that door there in the back. And we'll keep Cecil on Overwatch as he is the sniper, and that's the only way that he can use his rifle. Oh, I did hear something.
I'm sure my team would love to get their hands on that thing. We can't get a read on that thing. Its movements are so...
Yeah, apparently our soldiers can't get a bead on them either. Fortunately, that thing doesn't do anything too scary. It just goes into Overwatch, so I'm not really too worried about my soldiers right now. Oh, fuck.
It appears the aliens have outfitted the sectoid creature we previously encountered with some form of mechanized body armor. This was likely an effort to improve their combat power. We should exercise caution.
Well, that's a Mechtoid. That's a Cyberdisk. Those are all its friends. That's all my soldiers flanked. Fuck this game. Oh dear. So I was expecting to see at least one new enemy. I didn't think it would be these guys. So the Mechtoid is basically our answer to our mech. It's extremely powerful and it can attack twice on one turn. The Cyberdisk, meanwhile, is very heavily armored when it's closed, as you saw when it was just sort of floating along horizontal. It's open right now, which means it's more vulnerable, but it attacks a little bit stronger. And as soon as you attack it, it immediately clamps down again. But it only opens when it attacks or when it goes in Overwatch, so you want to kill it when it's closed, but it's hard to kill it when it's closed, and the Mechtoid's just a major fucking pain in the ass. And to top it all off, they're both in Overwatch. The good news about Overwatch is they didn't attack. The bad news is I'm basically locked down to where I am. Now, my first thought about fixing this situation is letting Hall here rapid fire this stupid thing at point blank range, but it's got 20 health. There's no way in hell she's gonna kill it with her light plasma rifle, so I gotta start thinking less stupid. the good news is she does have lightning reflexes in her gun, which means she'll be able to just run past that thing, get into better cover from her flank position, and then hopefully peg that thing double time with a rapid fire. So that's exactly what I decided to do over here by this white van. Eventually. And a quick high five to the Mechtoid on the way past, and she's in a much better position. Unfortunately, now she has a much worse chance to hit, although I'm banking on a couple 70s. Well, there's one. Ah, crap. So that's her action. I've got 5 soldiers left who can do something. Hill is also flanked. Well, everyone is also flanked, so never mind. Fortunately, I should be able to do a lot of damage to the Cyberdisc and take out its little drone buddies with SMOTs here. If you're wondering what the drones can do, the answer is not much. They're basically just weak attackers, and they can also heal the aliens' mechanical units. And technically, SMOTs actually missed there. You might have seen that the rocket kind of veered to the left. If he had missed that shot, I'm reasonably certain I would have uninstalled the game. So, good news is there's only 3 enemies left. The sectoid that's behind the Mechtoid over there should easily die. But that Cyberdisc is still really worrying me because it has some pretty good AoE attacks, and I'd love to forget about those. Now, I'd like for Hill to use her rocket as well, but I'm just really convinced I'm not going to be able to kill that Mechtoid on this turn. So instead, I'm just going to throw her into better cover here. Unfortunately, I actually forgot that the Cyberdisc was in Overwatch as it was closed. The good news is that it missed. The bad news is it actually set this car on fire. Now, technically, the car is above where Hill actually is because it's on that the mechanic's lift, but I'm not really willing to risk that she's not going to get hit by the explosive damage. So instead, I just decide to kind of pass her turn and go from there. So right now I'm wondering if I can get Synox close enough to punch that Cyberdisc into next week. However, as it did actually fire the Overwatch shot, that means that technically it's open again, as well as you can see that it's actually deployed. So I should be able to kill it with Dryadolin, assuming that he hits. That's a pretty good chance for a critical. And luckily enough, he does put that thing to sleep. And you can see there that those things actually do carry alien grenades. Like, that's one of the majorly scary AoE things that they can do. So, unfortunately, I can't get Synox close enough to pop that thing right in its face like I so desperately want to. So instead, I just kind of send her around the left side of that car. And we'll see what I can do from this range. And I decide best thing to just take care of that sectoid before it can do anything stupid. But in the meantime, I would like to see what I can do with Synox. My hope here is to hit the Mechtoid with a disabling shot so it won't actually be able to shoot at Synox on this turn. Unfortunately, not only does he miss, he sets the car that Hill is hiding behind on fire. And her turn is over. Fucking hell. Maybe an explosion will make me feel better. Well, an explosion that doesn't involve Hill getting exploded. Nah, maybe a little bit. So the question is, what's this guy gonna do? Pretty good hit on Synox. Good news is that doesn't actually hit his health, only the armor. And as I said, those things can attack twice.
Open fire.
And oh shit, that's a 4th pod. The good news is the Thin Men decide to bunch up like idiots. The bad news is there's Thin Men on this map. Oh shit. So Hill's definitely going to be in the hospital again. The good news is Synox is more than in range to punt that thing right in the next fucking week.
Engaging close quarters.
And I'm sorry for how choppy that is, so I actually got a better shot of that from YouTube. So thanks to the guy who uploaded this. There's at least one more custom animation for the mech soldiers killing something with a kinetic strike module, and I'll be sure to show that off when I get the chance. Now the only question is, what do I do about our friends over there? Fortunately, even though I do have the radius on the shot to kill everything, I don't have the ability to actually get it into that room behind the two thin men in front there. So I'll just have to settle for these guys in front, unfortunately. I'm also kind of debating, do I really want to waste the weapon fragments? And then I decide, yes. Yes, I do. I was also kind of hoping that that might destroy enough of the cover of the asshole in back that I can just easily nestle up to him and take him out. Unfortunately, that doesn't really happen. Good news is Dradlin still does have a shot, and he actually is technically in the open, so we'll see if he can finish it off, and thank God for that.
Mission accomplished.
That's the good thing about these tiny-ass maps. They finish in a right hurry. The bad news is, when the enemies stumble into you, they don't tend to half-ass it. I'm honestly shocked I made it out of there without more than one soldier hurt. So excuse the jump cut there, but getting on to promotions, Smots gets Will to Survive. It's a straight up decrease in damage if he is in cover and not flanked. Very good for making your heavies even more tanky than they were before. For Drad, as I said before, Revive, I like it well enough, but if you're losing soldiers, then you're doing something wrong, so I decided to go for Suppression on him as well. Our backup Heavy Hill also gets a promotion, despite the fact having never scored a kill, I've noticed. And our mech finally gets his first upgrade. So Advanced Fire Control, as it says, Overwatch shots no longer have any aim penalty. Very, very nice for making these guys be able to kill almost anything. And Automated Threat Assessment just basically increases your defense while in Overwatch. I prefer Advanced Fire Control because if you kill your enemy with an Overwatch shot, then what's the point of having extra defense? A lot of new autopsies, and oh yes, oh yeah, we will be going to the alien base very shortly. I was very, very happy to finally see that. And a bit more meld than I expected, because you get 10 out of the canister. I think the extra 5 came from the Mechtoid.
Remember, we will be watching.
So I can finally get some new research done, as I got a lot more stuff to autopsy up, and I just remembered that, oh, I don't actually have any research projects going. I should probably fix that. So can't do too much with the weapons. So I figured best thing to do right now is just knock off these autopsies, because that'll be done in only half a week. The only question is what I want to go with first. I can't really remember what all these things give, so pretty much a crapshoot. But I decided just, Cyberdisk.
We've yet to recover one of these in functional condition from the field. The men seem to enjoy using them for target practice. At the present time, we know that the cyber disc, as they've been calling it, is heavily armed, but it shows no clear pattern of behavior on the battlefield.
So honestly, nothing happens, so I'm just gonna skip ahead to the results of the autopsy. In this game, cyberdisks are a little bit different than they were back in the first game. In the first game, they literally were just like remote-controlled mini UFOs. Now they're almost a new life form of their own. Unfortunately, what you get from autopsying them is honestly pretty crap. The UFO tracking just increases the amount of time you have to successfully intercept a UFO. I've never found a use for it. And the secondary heart, like I said, if a soldier is getting damaged enough that they're dying, you're doing something wrong. So the secondary heart, I don't really find is a good idea.
This unit appears to be a drone, which is similar to the military drones we are familiar with. This particular example seems to have the ability to repair damaged equipment. Dr. Shen and I believe it should be possible to capture and repurpose these for our own use in the field.
Mostly just doing this just to get it out of the way. You don't get a lot of good stuff out of the drones either. While the ability to capture these drones does sound very nice, unfortunately, you don't get to keep them and then redeploy them. You only get to keep them for that mission. And as I don't really use shivs, the Sentinel drone doesn't really help me either. So unfortunately, I was basically just wasting time there. The Mechtoid should be better.
We were only able to recover the suit's central core, although the pilot's corpse also survived intact. The armor itself is quite interesting. The design is highly responsive while still providing extraordinary strength.
So right now I'm just wondering what else I can be doing. And I remember, oh yeah, I should probably build a skeleton key before I do something stupid and burn away all my alloys again.
The potential applications for this sort of tech would have been limitless if the aliens had only come in peace.
So now it's just a matter of finishing up this autopsy and then working on that covert operation. Yeah, a lot of text here. Again, I'll leave it up for a little while. So the good news is, with autopsying the Mechtoid, unfortunately, while I don't really gain anything too fancy for our own mech units, the advanced servo motors and the shaped armor are fantastic foundry projects, and I'll certainly be researching the pair of them. So basically, as far as I remember, servo motors increase the mobility of the mech in terms of how far it can move, and the shaped armor is better for defense. I don't remember if it increases health, but I will find out once I get to researching it. And obviously I can't research anything but armor right now. Skeleton suit, don't really use, so it's time to go for the T3 armor, the Titan armor. And now I'm just checking, like, do I actually have the ability to get any of the mech foundry products, and I do not. Anyway, we're coming up to about a half hour right now, so I will see you guys in part 2 of Mission 10.